Greetings, respected viewers. I am George from Ireland. I'm going to read aloud a segment of the Prelude by William Wordsworth. The poem is several thousand lines long. I'm going to give you roughly 100 lines. This is a memoir of his boyhood when he liked to sport with his chums on a frozen lake upon a winter's evening. Anyhow, I shan't delay further and just let the poem speak for itself. The Prelude by William Wordsworth. And in the frosty season, when the sun was set, and for many a mile the cottage windows blazed through twilight gloom, I heeded not their summons. Happy time it was indeed for all of us. For me it was a time of rapture. Clear and loud the village clock tolled 6. I wheeled about, proud and exulting like an untired horse that cares not for his home. All shod with steel, we hissed along the polished ice in games confederate, imitative of the chase and woodland pleasures. The resounding horn, the pack loud chiming, and the hunted hare. So through the darkness and the cold we flew, and not a voice was idle with the din. Smitten, and the precipices rang aloud, the leafless trees and the every icy crag tinkled like iron, while far distant hills into the tumult sent an alien sound of melancholy not unnoticed, while the stars eastwards were sparkling clear, and in the west the orange sky of evening died away. Not seldom from the uproar I retired into a silent bay, or sportively glanced sideway, leaving the tumultuous throng to cut across the reflex of a star that fled, and flying still before me gleamed upon the glassy plain. And oftentimes when we had given our bodies to the wind, and all the shadowy banks on either side came sweeping through the darkness, spinning still the rapid line of motion, then at once have I, reclining back upon my heels, stopped short. Yet still the solitary cliffs wheeled by me, even as if the earth had rolled with visible motion her diurnal round. Behind me did they stretch in solemn train, feebler and feebler, and I stood and watched till all was tranquil as a dreamless sleep. Ye presences of nature in the sky and on the earth, ye visions of the hills and souls of lonely places, can I think a vulgar hope was yours when ye employed such ministry, when ye, through many a year of haunting me thus among my boyish sports, on caves and trees, upon woods and hills, impressed upon all the forms and characters of danger and desire, and thus did make the surface of the universal earth, still triumph and delight with hope and fear, work like a sea. So that's the end of that well-known segment of the Prelude. It's known by its opening line, "And in the frosty season." So he grew up in the Lake District, which is in northwestern England, and no prizes for guessing why the Lake District has that name. And it's upon one of those lakes or meres where he liked to skate in Yuletide. So this poem, it's exhilarating and naturalistic. It's redolent of childhood. His vocabulary is sparse. He was unpretentious. He didn't overlay his poesy with too many allusions to classical learning, which of course was the meat and potatoes of schooling at the time. So I think it puts across very effectively a childlike quality that's so difficult to pin down, a simplicity, rejoicing in these very ordinary things, because he felt that one could find gratification in even the most mundane details. So the vocabulary never challenges you. It's a trifle antique because, of course, he composed this almost 200 years ago. Uh, and there are a few similes, a few metaphors, that's it, bit of personification, addressing non-living objects as though they were alive. And the probably the most effective use of the literary device there is when he's using onomatopoeia, like hissed, for example. So he manages to be innovative, although he's not stretching the reader too much. So no wonder it was quite popular, and there's little, if any, rhyme in the whole thing. So that's just a taste of William Wordsworth, a poet to whom I shall return. So one of the stalwarts of the Romantic movement, on board with the political radicalism of this set at the beginning, but had a cultural retreat into Toryism and firm Anglicanism towards the end of his 80 years. So I shan't tarry further. Look on to the next one. So make sure you subscribe. Toodaloo.